I'm Glenn Darcy, Vice President of Product Management for Arturia. This video is going to take you through the overview page as well as the envelope page of our new DX7 V. So you've seen the basic page, now let's dive in a little bit deeper here. To open up the main panel and you get to all the parameters, you click on the double arrows up here in the upper right hand corner. All of a sudden you're going to see a whole lot more parameters and open tabs. This video I'm just going to talk about what the parameters are here, and I'm not going to talk too much about synthesis. We will have a video on basic FM synthesis as well. In the overview page, you've got all your operators, operator 1 through 6. You've got their frequency ratios and you've got their levels. You can copy one operator to another by clicking this icon and then just clicking onto another one to paste it. In the center section for the oscillator, this is where we depart from what the original DX7 had. The original DX7 only had one waveform. You could have sine wave. We've changed that. By clicking on the waveform selector, you can see we have sine, cosine, parabola, triangle, square. You've got a whole bunch of stuff. You've got all the waveforms from the TX81Z as well as a few of our own additive waveforms that we have here. So now our default sound is just one operator, operator 1. It's just a sine wave. We can go through and audition some of these waves. Now cosine is just a sine wave out of phase, so it's going to sound the same. Parabola is going to be a little bit different shape. When these waves come into play, it's really when it's either being modulated by something or it is a modulator. So we'll go check out some of the TX81Z sounds. So with all these different waveforms, you can get much more complex sounds than you ever could out of a real DX7. Here you can choose oscillator sync on and off and pitch EG. One thing that's new within DX7 V is that each operator has its own filter. In the filter, you click on it and you have a low pass, band pass, and high pass mode. You can choose key follow, turning it on or off. You have your cutoff and your resonance controls. On the output, you can set feedback for each and every operator. This is another thing that's different from DX7 and the DX7V. On the DX7, you only had one operator that could have feedback. On this, all 6 can have feedback. You also have an amplitude modulation sensitivity, velocity sensitivity, and panning per operator. Over here, you have your mono poly modes, your unison, pitch bend, ranges, and steps, and your portamento modes. I'm going to go real quick here into the unison. Now this is where it ties into what we talked about before. So while I have just this sound, which is a beautiful sound, I can make it unison by clicking on 4-voice unison, and it doesn't really sound any different until I turn up the unison detune. And now you can see that the sound gets much bigger. Down here you can choose the DAC resolution. The vintage DX7 had a 12-bit DAC. You can click this and go to a modern 24-bit calculation. In the center of the screen are your envelope controls. Each operator has its own envelope for volume. You just click on a point, move it around. We've also got curve controls for each of these, so you can make it much more exponential or more logarithmic, however you want to set the curve shapes. Clicking and dragging up here will scale the time, so you can see the timeline between different points. Over here you have level scaling. Level scaling on the original DX basically would turn the level of the operator up or down depending on where on the keyboard you're playing. You can set which note is the center point. So we'll go on and set the breakpoint to C3. Actually, I'll go on and take it up another octave above that. A little higher, doesn't really matter. I've got it linear negative right now, so if I set the amount of depth on that, then you'll hear that operator 1 as I play down the keyboard gets softer. Okay, one thing about the envelope control in this is it's very difficult when you start jumping back and forth between different operators to see your envelopes. So we created an envelopes page. So now you can see the level envelopes for each of the operators, 1 through 6. You can see the overall pitch envelope, and you can see 2 extra modulation envelopes that we've added. Again, this is all new to the DX7. In the envelopes, you have a few different modes. You have the original DX7 mode. You have a standard DADSR. Sometimes it's nice just to work with a regular old-fashioned analog style envelope. And we have the multi-segment. And the multi-segment, you can create all kinds of things. We can increase segment counts. We can add segments different places. So I can have multi-segments on the release after the sustain point. You can loop different sections. You can say how much of this you want to loop. Then you can also do synchronized envelopes here. So you can set what the grid is, whether it's 16 steps, however many steps, and then you can set what your resolution is. So here's a preset that has a good example of using the rhythmic envelopes, using them synced with the grid. It's basically a drum beat. So you can hear operator 1, you can see where it's playing. Sounds like it's doing the kick drum. Yep. And you've got operator 3. And then you got operator 5 doing the hi-hat. Up here you have some templates, so you can just quickly choose them. If you've got some kind of a crazy envelope, sometimes you just want to go back to the beginning. You can choose some simple things, some rhythmic things. You've got a number of different envelope sections here that you can choose. And these are just starting points for you to work on. You can rate scale your envelopes, so as you're playing up and down the keyboard, they can get longer or shorter. And then you have a rate multiplier, so if you want to quickly make it twice the speed or half the speed, you can just use your rate multiplier here. Tune into the third part of our video saga where we're going to be talking about the modulation page, the effects page, and MIDI mapping.